Welcome to the KCG podcast, where we create the future. My name is Greg Tomczyk, and I am your host for today's podcast. Our featured guest today is Kayla Sawyer, a social media and marketing associate with KCG. As technology becomes increasingly more important in today's world, it is essential that businesses are prioritizing digital transformation to really keep up with the rapidly changing environment. Today, Kayla is going to discuss how companies can and should implement digital transformation strategies and how it can affect the growth and profitability of your company. So, Kayla, can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Yeah, so when I went to school, I wanted to get a holistic view of business and how businesses function and operate. So I majored in management and then minored in entrepreneurship and marketing. Marketing really piqued my interest because I thought it was so interesting how so many factors can affect your strategy, from your consumer base to even changes in technology, which eventually led me to social media and digital marketing strategy.
Yeah, that holistic view is very important when tackling digital transformation. So, can you explain how recent technological advances are impacting businesses around the world?
So, for starters, the biggest impact on businesses and how they operate, in my opinion, is the creation and expansion of social media. Social media has become an almost essential aspect to most companies in this day and age. According to HubSpot, nearly one third of the world is using social media regularly, which is why this medium is important for potential growth and outreach. People use it for recruiting, advertising, brand development, thought leadership, and so much more. The key to social media is catering it towards your company and being consistent and intentional with your postings. At KCG, one thing that we realized when we were working on our strategic plan for 2018 was how we needed to incorporate more thought leadership into our marketing strategy.
So, for those listeners that aren't familiar with thought leadership, can you explain a little further into what thought leadership is?
Sure. So, thought leadership is basically when a company considers themselves an expert in the field, they put out information to the public about those topics to educate the viewer. So, you can do this through blogs, videos, and podcasts mainly. We started using our social media as a way to educate our followers on news and events relating to our industry, which is largely cybersecurity. So I'm going to throw some statistics at you so you can get a better understanding of the significance social media and different mediums have on your company. According to HubSpot, 43% of people want to see more video content from their marketers. And companies that published 16 or more blog posts per month got almost 3.5 times more traffic than companies that published 0 to 4 monthly posts. And according to Edison Research, 67 million Americans listen to podcasts monthly, and 42 million Americans listen to podcasts weekly, which is 5 times more than going to the movies. So consumers respond better to visual and audio marketing versus written marketing. So we didn't realize how large of an impact podcasts had on the educational community until we did this research on effective thought leadership strategies. And that's kind of how the KCG podcast began.
Yeah, those statistics definitely put into perspective the impact that thought leadership can have on a company. So, digital transformation can be a very overwhelming process. What are your recommendations to overcome those potential obstacles?
Yeah, so I know that when we were thinking about it, we were kind of overwhelmed with where to start because there's so many good ideas. But one of the most important things is to basically set up a strategic marketing plan for your company with goals and then a timeline to follow. It's better to slowly develop your profiles one by one on each social media platform. And same goes for your thought leadership posts. Start with blogging or podcasts and make sure that you have enough manpower and time to expand into videos or vice versa. It is way better to be consistently posting good quality content on all of your mediums than it is to spread yourself too thin and have low quality work on one platform over the other. You also may need time to see what is best for your followers and what information they respond well to, and so on. It is important to note that as you do continue to research, it's key to go back and review your strategic plan and update it to meet your current needs and goals set forth.
Yeah, very well said. I found it very interesting that most companies jump straight to advertisements without really building real brand recognition throughout their target market. I would love to hear why and how you decided to take the thought leadership route as opposed to going strictly advertisements.
Well, KCG is unique in the fact that it is a service oriented company and it doesn't necessarily provide a tangible product for purchase. For companies like KCG, we don't have a product to sell and advertise online like a boutique or a tech store. So we provide a service and consider ourselves to have knowledge and expertise in the industry that we serve. We use thought leadership to build our brand and educate the customer on the potential threats and the needs that our services fulfill. I remember when I was researching about posts and what to post content wise, there was a 90-10 rule. 90% of your posting should be fun and curated content, and 10% should be self promotion. The key is to become the brand people associate with the industry. KCG's goal is to become a leading brand in people's mind when they think of cybersecurity.
That makes perfect sense, and it seems like some service companies are putting themselves out there like their product companies. So it really makes sense that education and credibility builds real relationships with the customer or the client. What are some struggles that you experienced in your strategy, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
One of the biggest hurdles most people might not realize is that social media and marketing are constantly changing. You have to consistently check analytics and make sure that you are hitting your marks, and if not, you're changing your strategy as new social media platforms develop and new marketing tools appear. The key is to finding the right balance between consistency and change, which all depends on your company's growth and statistics. Another thing I mentioned earlier was to not jump the gun and create profiles and strategies to implement all at once. We struggled with trying to figure out where to start, and creating a social media roadmap really helped us significantly. We set deadlines and goals for implementation and for our podcasts, blogs, and videos. As we continue to research and learn, we have been adjusting our timeline and goals to complement our current strategies. Another thing that we have struggled with is that analytics aren't yet as complex as we'd like them to be. So, to compensate for the information they don't provide, we have to research other social media superstars and have found consumer behavior statistics through third party sources. We have used that data along with trial and error to figure out what works best for our followers.
Yeah, this process has definitely proved to us the importance of strategic planning. So, for companies interested in digital transformation, where should they start and what does that roadmap look like?
I would suggest starting with one platform at a time and working on posting up to date content. When I first started working at KCG, I would spend way too long searching through a million sites trying to find cybersecurity information and news. I found it really helpful to subscribe to an email list that only sent out information related to cybersecurity, so I had less news to sort through. Another thing I have already stated is to set goals and to put a forecast together or a timeline of when you think you will reach the goal. It's also helpful for you to list potential resources that you may need in the future to achieve those goals so that you can approach management ahead of time with your list of potential needs and the company can allocate a budget for that investment.
So, building off of that, do you have any closing remarks or advice for listeners looking for more information?
It's important to know that what might work for one company might not work for your company. Your social media roadmap needs to be unique to your company and your business model. Take time to focus on your content and produce something that your followers actually want to read. Last and most important is to continue to research. Never stay complacent because that's when you become irrelevant. Social media has changed so much since its creation and will continue to change, so don't get left behind.
Kayla, thank you very much for all of your marketing insight. Hopefully, our listeners learned something new today that they can apply to their strategic marketing plan. And listeners, thank you for tuning into the KCG podcast, and we look forward to sharing more information with you in our next episodes. Visit the KCG website to learn more and follow us on social media. If we missed any questions or topics that you would like to know more about, send us a message or comment below, and we will be sure to include in our next episode. That's all for now. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to starting a discussion on the news surrounding these topics.